All right, let's dive into A Clash of Kings.
Oh, yeah, the second book in George R.R. Martin's, A Song of Ice and Fire.
It's a wild ride through Westeros.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really
yeah.
is. Martin just takes everything from Game of Thrones and,
Explodes it.
yeah, exactly. Bigger world, higher stakes,
The characters are pushed to their absolute limits. We're talking kingdoms clashing
dragons hatching,
and characters, facing some really tough choices.
impossible choices.
We'll break down the major plot lines, like the War of the Five Kings.
Oh, and Daenerys, right.
Yeah, Daenerys, her journey across the Red Waste, it's a desolate desert, really tests her.
It does, it does.
We'll dig into those themes too, power, loyalty, morality, all the good stuff that Martin loves to weave in there.
Of course, of course. And the characters, too. I mean, we could talk all day about the characters.
We'll focus on a few. Tyrion, Arya, Stannis.
Just to name a few.
By the end, you'll know the book's strengths, weaknesses, all that.
Emotional impact.
Oh yeah, big one. And of course, we'll let you know if it deserves a spot on your reading list.
You gotta have a rating.
Always. So, the War of the Five Kings. Five kings, it's a lot of kings.
Well, yeah, it all starts with King Robert Baratheon dying.
Makes sense.
His supposed heir, Joffrey, he takes the throne, but
Whoosh.
there are some doubts
Mm-hmm.
about his parentage.
Yes. Cersei and Jaime.
Right, right. So then you have Stannis, the older brother. He thinks he's the rightful heir.
Makes sense.
And then there's Renly, the younger brother, very charismatic. He decides, hey, why not me?
Oh, so it's a family affair.
A family reunion gone very, very wrong. And we can't forget Robb Stark.
King of the North.
Yeah, he's fighting for justice for his people and independence.
And to add to the chaos, Balon Greyjoy.
Oh, yeah, he declares himself king, too, king of the Iron Islands.
It's amazing how Martin keeps all these storylines going, but it doesn't feel forced.
It all flows, right? One event affects the others and so on.
Like ripples.
Exactly, exactly. And he doesn't shy away from how brutal war is.
It's not pretty.
Not at all. Battles are bloody, unpredictable, and alliances.
They shift constantly.
Constantly. And betrayals. Part of the game.
This isn't some romanticized, version of war.
Not even close. I think one of the things that struck me was how war dehumanizes everyone.
You really see that. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a soldier.
That constant threat of violence.
And death.
It wears everyone down.
It does. It makes you think, is there even such a thing as glory in war?
It really does. One of the things I love about Martin is how he explores that human cost.
Yeah. It's not just about the big battles.
It's about the individual lives, the families.
Or the scars, the ones you can't see.
Exactly. So while all that's happening in Westeros, across the sea, Daenerys is dealing with her own struggles in the Red Waste.
Right, so she emerges from the flames in Game of Thrones with 3 baby dragons and...
Clash of Kings throws her right back in.
Trial by fire, huh?
Literally,
Yeah.
She's leading these people through this desolate place.
Not much in the way of supplies, I imagine.
No, not really. And there's always danger.
Right. Plus, she's dealing with her own issues.
Oh, yeah. The grief, the loss of Drogo and their child.
And is she even fit to lead?
She's asking herself that all the time. She goes through a lot.
But she doesn't give up.
No, never. She adapts, learns Dothraki politics, and...
But dragons?
Yeah, they're getting bigger, more powerful.
Will she be able to control them?
That's the question, isn't it? They're a force of nature.
Even for a Targaryen?
Maybe especially for a Targaryen. But okay, journeys, themes,
Power.
loyalty.
Morality.
Oh, they're all there, being tested, redefined.
Like Martin's holding up this mirror asking us, what would you do?
Exactly. Take power.
It corrupts, right?
It can. Look at Cersei.
She'll do anything to protect her kids.
And her power. And Stannis.
He's embracing a whole new religion.
For the throne. But it's interesting, isn't it?
How so many want power for different reasons.
Stannis thinks it's his duty. Self-preservation. Then you have Theon Greyjoy.
Who betrays the Starks? His family.
He wants his father's approval.
But he ends up alone.
A terrible decision.
Right.
Really shows you how misplaced loyalty can...
Destroy you.
Yeah. And then there's Brienne.
So loyal to Renly, even after his death.
Honor and integrity. Hard to find in this world.
We have to talk about Arya, too. Her journey's heartbreaking, but inspiring, too.
She's just a child. She sees her father executed, has to flee.
Disguised as a boy.
And she endures so much, grows up fast.
Violence, death, betrayal.
But she never loses her compassion.
Or her will to survive.
Yeah.
That stark resilience.
It's amazing, and you see her sense of justice, her morality developing.
In this brutal world.
While she's doing all that, Jon Snow is up at the wall.
Dealing with his own problems. Duty to the Night's Watch versus family.
Classic struggle, right? Individual desires versus the greater good.
He makes some tough choices, especially beyond the wall.
With the wildlings. Changes his view of the world, that's for sure.
He sees the real threat.
Yeah, the others.
Way scarier than any king.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Specific characters.
Starting with Tyrion.
The best Lannister.
Oh, he's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Complex, smart, resourceful.
Red Fawn!
Oh yeah, for sure. In this book, he becomes a leader.
Acting hand of the king. Lots of power, lots of responsibility.
And he handles it well.
Surprisingly well, some might say. Always thinking ahead, outsmarting his enemies, even his family.
He's got to use his brains.
In a world that underestimates him constantly. Because he's a dwarf.
His intellect is his weapon.
You know, it makes you think strength isn't always physical.
Sometimes it's about how you use your mind.
Exactly. All right, let's talk Arya. Her journey's different, but just as compelling.
She becomes so resourceful, so tough.
Losing her innocence is hard to watch, but seeing her adapt...
Inspiring. She's always on the run, learning to fight.
She even escapes Harrenhal.
That place is terrifying.
She uses her wits and courage. Amazing character.
In her direwolf Nymeria.
Symbolizes her own wildness, maybe. That connection to nature.
She's not that little girl anymore. Lastly, Stannis.
Oh, he changes a lot in this book. New religion, ruthless ambition.
It's fascinating how Melisandre influences him, the Lord of Light.
She makes him believe he's the chosen one.
But his methods are brutal.
He attacks his own brother, Renly.
To get the throne. Makes you wonder, is he righteous?
Or just another tyrant. It's one of the things that makes this book so good.
No easy answers.
Heroes are flawed, villains have their reasons. Complex.
It's gripping. Okay, before we end this part, I want to talk about Martin's world building.
It's breathtaking, so real you can practically smell the Iron Islands.
You feel the wall. It's immersive.
Those details, right? The food, the clothes, even the weather.
It all adds to it.
You're not just reading about Westeros, you're living it. And the tension.
Masterful. Keeps you guessing.
Like the siege of King's Landing. The tension builds and builds.
That battle is epic.
And personal. We'll leave you there for now. Come back for part 2.
We'll talk about the weaknesses, emotional impact, and all that.
And the rating. Can't wait to see if it makes your reading list.
So we talked about all the great things in Clash of Kings, but no book's perfect, right?
Right.
There are some weaknesses. Some readers might point those out.
Yeah, the pacing, for one.
Uh-huh.
It's a big book. Lots of storylines all happening at the same time.
Can be a bit much.
And some parts, they drag a bit.
Daenerys in the Red Waste?
Oh, yeah, that's a good example. It's important for her, her growth.
But it's kind of slow. Lots of wandering.
Internal struggles, too, before she even gets to Korth.
And then there's the complexity.
Oh, yeah.
So many characters.
The politics, the history.
It's like Martin throws you in the deep end.
He kind of does. You got to keep track of everything. All the houses, the alliances.
It's a lot. But isn't that complexity part of what makes it so good?
I think so. He trusts his readers. Makes you work for it.
And it pays off.
Yeah.
It's a rich story. You got to be engaged, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Not a passive read. Okay, let's switch gears a bit.
Emotional impact.
Right.
Martin doesn't shy away from, the hard stuff.
The brutality, the tragedy. It can be tough to read sometimes.
You start caring about these characters, and then...
He puts them through the ringer.
There are some really sad moments. Betrayals, losses. You feel it.
You really do. I think what I admire is how he twists the fantasy tropes.
Happy endings aren't guaranteed.
Nope. No one's safe. Makes it unpredictable.
You're on the edge of your seat. Who's going to die next?
And it's not just the shocks, There's real emotion there.
Love, loss, betrayal.
It's redemption, too. All very human stuff.
Even with the dragons and the magic.
Speaking of, Martin draws inspiration from history.
Oh, yeah. The Wars of the Roses, right.
Right. But he makes it his own. Completely unique.
The characters, the plot, the world.
It's not your average fantasy.
Yeah.
Heroes are flawed. Villains have motives.
It feels real.
Even with the ice zombies. Okay, so the rating.
The big moment. Drum roll, please.
I'd give it Clash of Kings a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's immersive, unforgettable.
If you like fantasy, you got to read this.
But also, even if you just like a good story. Complex characters.
Moral dilemmas.
Oh, yeah, lots of those. Before we move on, I wanted to touch on the symbolism again.
Oh, yeah, the direwolves, the dragons, the stags.
It all adds another level to the story.
The direwolves, they're the Stark kids, right?
And their bond, their connection to the old magic.
Loyalty, strength, the wildness. Then you have the dragons.
Daenerys' power. Magic coming back to the world.
And they could destroy everything, too. Depends on her, really.
And that red comet. What was that about?
Everyone sees it as an omen. Good or bad, depends who you ask.
Adds to the mystery. You know something's coming.
Makes you want to reread it. You notice new things every time.
It's a book that makes you think. Not just entertainment.
Power, morality, good versus evil.
So, any last thoughts? Any big questions before we wrap up?
Well, what is power, really? Does it corrupt everyone?
That's a good one.
Daenerys, Tyrion, they're all trying to figure it out, how to use it for good.
It's a question that runs through the whole series, I think.
It makes you think about your own choices.
All right, well, I'm ready to go back to Westeros. Join us for the final part.
We'll wrap up Clash of Kings and talk about its impact on, well, everything.
Okay, so back to A Clash of Kings for this final part. We've talked about the battles, the politics, the characters.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
But before we wrap up, a few more things that make this book, well, amazing.
The little things, the moments that stick with you.
Yeah, for example, the Red Waste, where Daenerys ends up.
Oh, man.
Martin describes it so well, you can feel the heat, the sand, endless sand.
It's like you're there. It's his world building.
The best. The North, King's Landing.
Every place feels real.
And not just the big stuff, right? It's the little moments, too. The ones that tell you about the characters.
Oh, yeah, like that scene with Sansa.
When they execute her father's men.
Brutal. It changes her.
She sees how cruel the world is, how power works.
It's hard to forget those scenes. Martin uses them to, make the characters grow.
Explore the themes.
And speaking of, the symbolism.
The dire wolves, the dragons, the stags.
Adds so much to the story.
Those symbols, they're not just about the families.
It's deeper than that.
The dire wolves, they're like the Stark kids.
Their connection to the old ways, the magic, loyalty, strength.
The wild part of the world. And the dragons.
Daenerys' power. Magic coming back.
But also dangerous. Like her, really. She could reshape everything.
Or destroy it. Then there's the comet. The red one.
Everyone thinks it's an omen.
Good or bad? Who knows? Adds to the mystery.
Something's gonna happen. Makes you want to read it again.
You see new things every time, little details, connections.
It's a book that makes you work, but in a good way.
Not just a simple story. Martin wants you to think.
About everything. Okay, so as we finish this deep dive, I encourage you to, pick the book up again.
With fresh eyes. Think about what we talked about. The details, the symbolism.
The little moments.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
And if you've never read A Song of Ice and Fire, well,
you're missing out.
Start with Game of Thrones, then dive into Clash of Kings. You won't regret it.
It's a journey.
It is. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep thinking, keep diving deep.